Good morning. Many weeks back, we looked at the biography of William Shakespeare, who is prescribed for the students of BA Part 1, English Literature, for Paper 1. Two of Shakespeare's sonnets are prescribed for you. The first sonnet that we will look at is "Let me not to the marriage of true minds," which is sonnet number 116. First, there is the text of the sonnet. Then there are some notes, the textual meanings of certain words in the poem. Now, let us look at the analysis, summary, etc. of the poem itself. Sonnet 116 is about love in its most ideal form. The poet praises the glories of lovers who have come to each other freely and enter into a relationship based on trust and understanding. The first 4 lines reveal the poet's pleasure in love that is constant and strong and will not alter when it alteration finds. The following lines proclaim that true love is indeed an ever-fixed mark, which will survive any crisis. In lines 7-8, the poet claims that we may be able to measure love to some degree, but this does not mean we fully understand it. Love's actual worth cannot be known. It remains a mystery. यानी कि अभी भी सच्चा प्यार एक रहस्य होता है हमेशा. The remaining lines of the third quatrain, a quatrain is a stanza of 4 lines, and the third quatrain means from line 9 to 12, reaffirm the perfect nature of love that is unshakable throughout time and remains so even to the edge of doom or death. In the final couplet, the poet declares that if he is mistaken about the constant, unmovable nature of perfect love, then he must take back all his writings on love, truth, and faith. A couplet, by the way, is a stanza of 2 lines, जिसको हम हिंदी में दोहा कहते हैं. Moreover, he adds that if he has in fact judged love inappropriately, meaning incorrectly, no man has ever really loved in the ideal sense, in the perfect sense that the poet professes. Professes means expresses or claims. The details of sonnet 116 are best described by Tucker Brooke in his acclaimed edition of Shakespeare's poems. In sonnet 116, the chief pause in sense is after the 12th line. 75% of the words are monosyllables. Only 3 contain more syllables than 2. None belong in any degree to the vocabulary of poetic diction. There is nothing recondite, exotic, or metaphysical in the thought. There are 3 run-on lines, 1 pair of double endings. There is nothing to remark about the rhyming except the happy blending of open and closed vowels and of liquids, nasals, and stops. Nothing to say about the harmony except to point out how the fluttering accents in the quatrains give place in the couplet to the emphatic march of the almost unrelieved iambic feet. In short, the poet has employed 110 of the simplest words in the language and the two simplest rhyme schemes to produce a poem which has about it no strangeness whatever except the strangeness of perfection. These words are said by Tucker Brook in his book on Shakespeare's poems. Now let us take a look at the introduction of the poem. Sonnet 116 was written by the English poet and playwright William Shakespeare, most likely written in 1590s during a craze for sonnets in English literature. It was not published until 1609. Although Shakespeare's sonnets were not popular during his lifetime, Sonnet 116 has gone on to become one of the most universally beloved and celebrated poems in the English language. In magnificent, moving terms, the poem describes true love as an enduring, unbending commitment between people, a bond so powerful that only death can reshape it. Though the poem is moving and romantic, it risks at times falling into hyperbole or cliché. Some readers may doubt the plausibility or the sincerity of its depiction of love. At this point, my dear students, I would like to tell you that if you find any word which you are not able to understand, then please look for its meaning in the dictionary. Sonnet 116, Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds, the summary of the poem. I don't want to accept that anything can come between two people who truly love each other. This is what the poet is trying to say in the poem. True love isn't true love if it changes when things get tough or if it lets itself be diminished. Diminished meaning reduced. No. Instead, love is a steady guide, like a lighthouse that even during a storm is never shaken. It is the star that guides ships as they wander at sea. Its value is too great to be measured, but it is still used by sailors to help them navigate. Navigate means to cross the sea. Love is not fooled by time, though pink lips and cheeks are diminished in time. In other words, beauty becomes faded as time passes. Love does not change as hours or weeks go by, but continues on unchanged until death itself. If I am wrong, claims the poet, and if my own behavior serves as evidence that I am wrong, evidence means proof, then I have never written a poem and no one has ever loved. Now, the line by line explanation and analysis of Sonnet 116, that is, Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds. Now we look at the poem in detail.